How are y'all doing? I'm sorry I haven't done a video in the last month or so, but I gotta tell you, the whole reason is I have been totally mesmerized by this role-playing campaign we are living through. A worldwide game that's being played all across the world. It's amazing the things going on. And I gotta tell you, I am woefully impressed by whoever this dungeon master is who's running this game. It is incredible. A year ago, I would have never imagined all the cool things that could have happened. The strange machinations of things making this more interesting every month that goes by. Is I was trying to figure out, wait a second, what game system is he using? And I'm thinking, well, it's not Dungeons and Dragons. It's not the Fantasy Trip. It's not RuneQuest. It's not Traveler. It's not even Deadlands. I was thinking, what could it possibly be? And then suddenly it dawned on me really, really clearly what it was. It's Call of Cthulhu. That's what's going on right now, and we are living through it. And it's really interesting to look at and watch. What are the great old ones doing? How are they manipulating their minions to do the things they need to do? And I kept thinking, well, wait a second. This is really a good campaign. And gosh, I want to DM some of this. So, how to make this a cathartic experience for everybody? Because, these last couple of years, if you look at it, being stuck as an NPC in this game really kind of suck. So here's the thing to look at. When we are playing Call of Cthulhu, which of course we are, when do we want to start it? How do we want to play it? What are we going to allow or disallow? I mean, we might want to add a little, Hellboy into it or something. Could be really cool to add different elements in there because they're being used. But first and foremost, what are the great old ones out there being used? I initially thought one of them might have been Cthulhu, but now I'm beginning to think not. Now, on the left, it's pretty obviously it's King in Yellow, but I can't quite figure out who's on the other side. So I'd like you people to kind of come up with some ideas, the people you really study that Lovecraftian thing, and can sort of tell me what you think great old ones are involved here. Now, I'm always worried walking around because I don't want to run into a Shoggoth or a Night Gaunt or a Hound of Tyndallis out in my travels. But it's interesting to be in this game, and it's interesting to watch it play because it's interesting to see how people are involved. Now, studying history and stuff, it's really only good to get a game like this going if you can get everybody ginned up so that there's lots of hostility and anger and things out there that are going to make this campaign really, really, really drive well and be super authentic in its play. Now, I'm only kind of half being comical here because truthfully, this kind of really bothers me. And I really do think we should sort of kind of get into this and make it more of a game so that we don't alienate. I have never in my lifetime seen anything that has alienated people like this situation we've had over the last year or two. It's amazing. And the fact that so much has been destroyed, so much of our business has been lost, so many people's lives have been ruined, there's got to be some kind of master plan here going on. And let's figure out what it is and enjoy it and play it. So however you play, go out and get yourself the Call of Cthulhu rules and kind of look at it and discover what it is that works and then go from there. Maybe in 3 eras. It's either the start of World War I when, the big banks were essentially backing both sides of the war, kind of did in World War II also, so they could become more powerful and wealthy. And then possibly, it's like the 50s, early 60s, when Eisenhower said, beware of the great military complex. I mean, there's lots of clues here, and maybe that's what we should look at this as. It's just a game. So when you're DMing it, remember, no judgment to your players. But most importantly, while you're out there in the real world, when you're not playing, keep a civil tone with all your family and friends, because these people were always your friends before, and they're the ones that you game with now, and they're the ones that you've known for years and and have had whole lives with. You don't want to be swayed that you got dragged into a sporting event, because sometimes that's how I feel these are. And if you're in a sporting event, it's really exciting, it's really important, and it's the biggest thing in the world today. But you know what? 2 weeks from now, it's not going to mean much. Hell, 6 months or a year from now, most people in the world aren't even going to know who was on both sides. The important thing is to keep your life under control and make sure your game runs smoothly. Now, I love this idea. Some of my friends I've talked about it said they want to play. They really want to play in this. And I think that's important if nothing else, just to get a grasp of perspective. Because when you play Call of Cthulhu, you pretty much know you're a very small cog, which is what most of are in this event. We're not getting paid lots of money to run the show here. So don't destroy your lives, don't destroy your relationships and friendships with everybody else for something that really you have no impact on, nor any control. Now, if you can find out cool stuff and do it, it's great. Now, to start the idea of the campaign, remember, you got the great old ones, whichever ones you decide to use. It's up to you, and there's so many out there and so much to choose from and such cool variety, you can go from there. You pick your era, World War II, World War I, modern day. Modern day might be really easy. It's interesting and it's in today, and you're going to get a lot of positive feedback of people who are going to be able to really accurately role play their characters in this situation. If there's things out there that you don't agree with your friends, talk it out. Remember, they're your friends. But really, for the most part, you really don't know what your friends are thinking or feeling or believing. And truthfully, for the most part, I found that the vast majority of people that I've known all my life are really good people, and I like them, and I like being their friend. So don't want to change that dynamic. So when you're DMing your game, don't bring your personal biases into the game. Come in there with an open mind, running a game that's going to be beneficial and fun for everyone. Because remember, everybody wants to have a good time. And that often includes even, the game masters. So make sure every day when you're playing this game, be as civil and fun as you possibly can and try to find ways for your side to win without destroying everything else. Now, there's all kinds of things you could add to your game. You could add like human cults, like werewolf. Werewolf would be a perfect add-in to this. But anything else, the Illuminati, there's so much cool stuff. The Bilderbergers or whatever. It's all there for you to add into the game. But always remember, it's the great old ones running it, so you know how that works in Cthulhu. And if you don't, make sure you read the rules because, you wouldn't want to piss Cthulhu off and run the game wrong. And the whole point is to make a really good, interactive, cathartic experience that people can learn from and both enjoy and have something to discuss afterwards that's both fun, interesting, and you're hoping educational. Something that will make your future better and to make you, better player characters. Because being an NPC, especially like sometimes I know a lot of us feel like right now, is not a ton of fun. Well, you got to understand it's not real. It's just a game. Pick up some dice, roll. If you don't like what's the rolls, or get some new dice. That's what most people do in D&D, and I think that is a very good idea here. And we're going to get back to talking about real gaming that I enjoy, and it's a lot lighter. But I think people should remember, every day that goes by is an opportunity for you to have a good role-playing game experience, whether it's in real life or whether it's on pen and paper, using miniatures and everything else. It's up to you. But what you don't want to do is turn your game into something that nobody's going to want to play. And that's important. We're starting to see things now that look like this game is going south. And I don't want to see that. Because the truth of it is, if you read a history book, you realize the perspective of life is everything changes. And the two things that are true is that things will change, and the change will be abhorrent to the people that came before. It's just part of nature. You have to relax and try to get the best out of your gaming experience as you possibly can. There's good and there's bad, and that decision is going to be up to you. And when you're in the position of running it, you've got to make the best decisions and be the best game master for your group, because that way everybody benefits and it doesn't become just sort of a peter out experience. It just sort of winds down and falls apart and the game gets shoved into a drawer and no one ever plays it again. Look at things in a particular way and understand that you are not alone in this situation and that you are having to be just part and parcel of making things better for your gaming campaign. So next time we'll talk about a simpler game system, something maybe a little easier like, Chartmaster, because it's a game system that's highly, highly complex, nowhere near as highly complex as this game system, but it's fun and it's interesting. If there's anything out there you guys want to hear about and talk about, maybe stuff from the old days, games that you heard about but never obviously had an opportunity to play or see, let me know. I'll talk about them, can recommend some, can recommend you avoid some. But in the meantime, remember, have a good time, relax, enjoy your games, paint miniatures, and fight me devils fight because, as you know, I hate peace. Game on, everybody. Be safe out there, be careful, and watch out for the deep ones when you get by the water.